All right, so here is how to create a rehearsal chart, if you will, in Planning Center Services. So the first thing we want to do is we want to go to the Songs tab. And we want to either pick a song that we already currently have in our library or create a new song. If you don't know how to create a new song, you just click on Add Song, and then your account should hopefully be linked via CCLI or something to a legal downloadable source. And that's where you'll get something through Song Select or Praise Charts. And that's what you'll use as your base template for the song that you're going to be performing. To make it easier, let's just start with a song that we already do that is pretty popular and is already built in our Rolodex. All right, that song is Gratitude. So we're going to click on the song that already exists. And most of you have already probably seen, you go to Song Select and you get a chart that looks like this. That's a great chart. It's already authorized and licensed through CCLI, through the Song Select portion of their website. It tells you all the pedigree information, who wrote it, all of the credits and everything, the basic information. And then there's the chart. These charts are great, but when you pull them up on your tablet or your iPad or you print the music, you're at the mercy of how this song was edited by the original editor that copied the recording, which is fine and good if you want to do it exactly this way. But what if you want to make it your own because CCLI allows you to do that? Well, then you don't want to use Song Select. You want to create your own chart. So that's what this tutorial is about. So let's close out of this. So what I recommend is find the key that you want to do the song in typically, kind of create that as your baseline. So here is Gratitude in A, and I'm going to print that, okay? So now that I have printed that chart, I can use it as my reference, my template, if you will. You can print it, you can pull it up on an iPad, on your cell phone, whatever you want to do. So then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to this Lyrics and Chords tab. When you click on it, you get this cool screen that shows you the finished product of your charting. And on the left, it'll show you your raw data, okay? So we want to do this song in B, so we pick the original key here of whatever key we want to, basically whatever key your Song Select chart you printed off is in. So then you're going to use that as a reference. Now, as you see over here on the left-hand side, you can make it look however you want. You can space the words out. You can add however you want. Let's say I decide for whatever reason to put a ridiculous amount of space in there. I hit it, and it'll show up over here too. So like I said, this is your input side. Your output side is over here, right? And if you want to make it auto refresh, you can, or you can do it manually, whatever. So here's how you input the data. On your praise chart or your Song Select version, the chords will appear above the words that they correspond with. Well, the way to do that here is to put these brackets around the letter. Whatever is bracketed will appear above the word that it precedes. So it will pop up above. When I do these chord changes like this, they will show up above. Then I can add brackets and add things to make it look aesthetically pleasing to me or create a visual appeal for my team that's consistent that they're used to. So that's what this then looks like over here on the finished side. So if I want to add things like directions that we're going to be bringing it down and building, or we want to do the chorus twice here, or we want to go chorus 2 into the ending, there's an optional ending, things like that. That is where you use this key. This little options feature up here will show you all of the little operations you want to do. If you want to add a page break, a column break, you want to transpose. Let's say I decide I want the third verse to be in a totally different key, but I don't want to print off a whole new chart and try to transpose in my head and do all of those musically relevant things. Here's the way to do it. Let's be honest. We can cheat. So we go over here to this tab again. We've put our cursor right here above the verse we want to change the key on. Now I go over here and I decide I want to transpose up one step. These are intervals of steps. So I've now put this thing in here that will allow me to transpose plus 1, okay? You can see that right there, transpose +1. So when I go over here before verse 3 on my finished product, it will now say the new key, which has changed to C right here. So now the rest of the song, even though I'm inputting the data like normal, B, G sharp minor 7, F sharp, even though I wrote that on verse 3 over here off my original chart, it magically transforms it to C over here. You say, well, I don't want to go up a half step. I want to go up 2 half steps or a whole step. Great. Come back over here to your original data. Change it to +2. Now all of a sudden, we're in D flat. Or I want to go +3. You get the picture. When I change the data on the left side, it'll change it over here on the right side. If I want to go back to a different key again, just keep repeating that process. Now, obviously, I don't want to do that because this is not a Southern gospel song where we change the key every verse. I'll just take it out. So now I've taken it out on the original side, and now it is gone on this side as well. And my chart looks like I wanted it to look. I can change the editing over here, how I want it to appear on this chart over here. I don't like that bridge 1 up that high or down that low. I want it to line up with my other side. As I make corrections on the left, it appears on the right. Within this key, you can do things like I said. If I want to tell the band that we start really down and really low right here, not big, I can use this guide over here, more codes. It'll show me if I want to make a word bold, or I want to make a word italic, or any other features. When I click, it'll show me all sorts of codes and features I can use. Very similar to HTML code inputting. It'll show me how to do all of these features on the how-to page, okay? All right, so I've gone back to the regular screen. I decided I want to tell the band very specifically, starting off small. So I'll usually use the term broken down, all right? So the way that I do that is I use the less than, greater than, less than signs. And I like to make it look the same. So you can see the way I input data. I will say broken down. I like to put brackets. Now, to finish off, what will happen over here on the right-hand side is all of a sudden everything is now italic because I started the italic process. So don't forget over here, if I started the italic, I need to also then end the italic. And the way you do that is the greater than, less than, then the / I or B or whatever you want it to be. And now over here on this side, it'll be fixed. And just the thing I want to tell the band, broken down here. I want it to be pretty simple, pretty basic. I can give directions all the way through the song. Like over here, we do bridge 2, we build it. Then we do it the first ending, and we go and we do bridge 2 again. Into the chorus 2 times. All of these little operations, there's little codes of how to do italic and how to do bold. It's pretty basic, you just have to play with it. When I'm done with this chart, I've used my song select chord chart to make it say or do whatever I want. I have this template. The nice thing is when you use a song select chart that already exists, when you populate a song over, the chord changes don't go with it, but the lyrics typically do. So you just have to input the rest of the data that's missing. So we finished our changes in this file, and now we go up and we just go back to the main screen, and we're back here in our song. So now when I click on the song, forever and for always, this chord chart, regardless of what key I have it in, will be in the correct key. What's really great is as long as you did the data entry right, whatever key I pick, I create a new key, I change it, the file will look the same, but it will on its own change the key for you, so you don't have to transpose anymore. All right, so I decide I want to add the key of F. So I click the Add Key button, I go to F, I've added the key, I call it whatever I want, maybe it's female lead, maybe it's whatever. I create that key. I want to go ahead and download the song select chart just because sometimes you might want to use that instead. It's going to do that. Now, when I go to F, my chord chart also goes with it. I didn't make a chord chart in F. I made it in A. But because I did it in A, it will automatically transport it and transpose it to F, which is the greatest part of this feature. One more thing that can be done, and why this is such a great tool, is if I pull up on my iPad or another tablet or other device, I can also edit the song in real time during rehearsal. Yeah, you can pull it up here, that's great. But I want to edit it now during rehearsal. Okay, so I've gone to my iPad, my iPhone, my Android phone, my tablet, whatever. Most of our band gets to use an Amazon Fire tab or whatever. But I go to my profile, I open it up. Most of your teams are only going to get to see just their schedule, where they're scheduled to serve. If you're the administrator, you get to see a whole lot more. But, for example, I can search for songs. But just for this week, July 9th, I can click on this tab here, and we can rehearse from these files, right? So I want all of my files to be chord charts in whatever key we're doing it in. Because if I don't, I get a song that ends up being a song select version, which is great, but it doesn't edit it to reflect exactly how I want to do that song. So let's go back to the song Gratitude real quick. All right, so I found the song Gratitude. We're going to do an arrangement of it in A. And this is the chart that we just created on the computer. Okay, so if you're set up, there's the broken down that we added earlier. So you're set up as the administrator or even as an editor. Anybody with privileges editor and higher in services can do this. So you're practicing a song and you decide, you know what, I don't want to do this chorus twice. I want to do it 3 times or 1 time or whatever. If you're an administrator or an editor, you can click on the iPad or the screen. You can go to the drop down and you go to this where it says edit lyrics and chords. Well, that matches what's in the other file. Now all of a sudden you kind of have a very similar readout to what you had on the computer screen earlier. And you can actually edit that. We decided we didn't want to do this chorus so many times. We decided we want to do it 3 times instead. So now I can change it to say 3 times. All right, then I'm done editing this file. And when I go back, mine now says 3 times. Now what your band's going to have to do real quick is go back to the home screen. They're going to have to swipe and update their dashboard, and then it'll be edited. You can really do whatever you want to this chart by editing it. If you want to add or subtract things. If in the middle of the instrumental I want to say that someone in the band smells, which would be horribly rude and not professional at all, right? But I decide that that's in the chart. Now I've edited the chart and it says you smell during the instrumental. So that maybe is just a fun little note you want to leave for your team. But you see, as the director, you can now edit it to do whatever you want. If you decide that you don't think someone smells, but that you don't want to do the beginning broken down anymore, you decide, I want to do it big. Come in here in real time during rehearsal while your vocalists are working out their parts or whatever. You can edit it real quick. And now you go back to your main screen and it's gone. So that is the beauty of having what I call the gray bar chart. That is the chord chart in whatever key you want to do it in. Here's one more awesome feature, why I love this feature. If I'm in a song and we're performing it and the vocalist hasn't rehearsed in a certain key, it's the wrong key for them, the band can't play it in whatever key, we decide we want to change the key. I touch the screen, this little button. It may look like an up and down arrow depending upon your app. Touch it, and now I can literally transpose it to any key I want. I decide that we're going to do this key in D instead. Rather than getting out my pencil and paper and old school transposing everything, the program did it for me. So now your whole band can be in the key of D with literally just the tap of a button. So there are a lot of cool features in the Planning Center application. And that's just one that I find that's super helpful because I can give clear directions to my team of how we're going to do a song any given week. Typically, we try to do it similarly every time, but if we decide that this just didn't play well, we need to do this chorus twice or whatever, we can kind of plan in our moments that may seem spontaneous to the congregation, but they're not to us because they're planned out. Most importantly, I love these charts because it helps me communicate quickly to the team what is expected of them each week. If when they open up a set list at the beginning of the week or the week ahead or whenever it's prepared, they can go into their plans. They can pick whatever time they're serving, whatever service they're in, and they get to see already what's expected of them. They know that this week we're going to do House of the Lord, who's going to lead what song, when, and where, and they can come over now. They can listen to the audio file that I've uploaded, whatever key we're going to do the song. We can transpose it to G if we want to because it's an MP3 file. And then they know now, instead of looking at Song Select, I can click on Chord Chart in G, and they'll get all of the instruction. We're going to do the intro twice this week. Then we're going to do verse 1, then we're going to do chorus. And if I want it to be anything different ahead of time, I can plan it out and my team will know ahead of time. So when we run through rehearsal, we're already more efficient because the things have been planned out ahead of time. So it's a great feature to have, and I hope that it really blesses your team to use it.